I'm going to take the front carburetor off of this 99 Intruder, Suzuki Intruder. I had it all filmed and everything, but I didn't get the audio correct, so I wanted to make sure that I show you guys how to do this. So I'm going to redo it. I mean, I'm obviously not going to change the parts, but I'm going to take it apart and show you what I did. So obviously the first thing we need to do is take the seat and the seat and that is pretty. There, that's better. Take the seat off in the tank. So that's where we're going to start it out. So obviously I didn't have to unbolt my seat because it's not bolted on. But basically there's the two bolts here, and here, on each side, and it just slides up into this bracket here. So shouldn't be too tough to take the seat off. Next, we want to make sure we turn the gas off when we pull this tank. And on this tank there's one bolt right there, that little Phillips head bolt. That's what takes this tank off. It also has these side bolts that go with the seat, but again, mine's short that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off. You may need a little bit of a drain pan because you're going to get a little bit of oil. A little bit of gas leakage. You want to make sure you're not doing this on a hot bike because you are going to get some gas leaking. So first thing we've got to want to do is take this off. Easier said than done, I guess. Alright, drain this. Just because I just don't want to get it all over, so. Alright, so next we're gonna take that one bolt off, and then we'll be able to take the entire tank off. Just lifts off, and then it has a, you can see that just slides under that hook here. So alright, so we're going to take off the number 2 carburetor. Suzuki's kind of silly because this is the number 1 cylinder, this is number 2 cylinder. So it's the front carburetor, but it's the number 2 carburetor. So as you can see, the bike is very narrow, so they put all the wiring and cabling goes through here. But you can, for the most part, you can kind of move it out of the way. There's these brackets that kind of hold them out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the air inlet, which is just this. There's one here and one here. It's just a plastic piece. And you don't need to take it all the way off. You just got to loosen it up because it's just a hose clamp. Well, like I said, this is just a rubber piece, so it just pulls off. And as you can see in here, this is where the front air filter is. So I'll be changing that again here in a little while once I get it. I don't have one right now. Next thing we want to do. This is the breather. I'm just going to pull it off so it's out of the way. It just basically it goes from here and feeds down just so it has air into the flow bowl. So as you here, this is where the fuel inlet is. As you can see, it's just one of those cheap push together hose clamps. So we're going to take that off. and then that's just a pull off. I'm going to use a screwdriver just because it's not real easy to get to pull, but it just slides off. Just like that. Now this goes back to the fuel pump back here. That's where the gas goes from here through this tube into the fuel pump, and the fuel pump pumps to the two carburetors. So that's the actual fuel inlet. Next thing we're going to want to do is take it off the intake manifold, which is on this side. It's a, come over here. Right here is another hose clamp, and this is the intake manifold on this bike. So it's very simple. It's just two hose clamps, just like the top one. We just loosen them up, and then we can pull that off. Oh, actually, I'm mistaken. That's only one hose clamp. The other one is bolted to the. Yeah, it stays bolted to the head. So just the one hose clamp. Now, as you can see, this is a very tight fit. So you may have to figure out which way the cables need to go. There are two linkages that we will be taking off. This one here, this is the throttle linkage. And then the one over here is the sync cable linkage, right here. So we'll be taking those off. And then the other thing that we do need to take off, actually before I do that, let me take the choke off the frame here. It's just a single screw here, just to mount this choke onto the frame. When it goes through into the other side, it goes into the carburetor. We'll take that off once we pop it up a little bit. And this choke is a split choke. It goes to both carbs. So, all right, so we have it off the. Just wiggle it a little bit, and there it comes off. Now it's like I said, it's a kind of a tight fit, but the best way to do it is to tip it this way to get the choke, because the choke's the thing that sticks out the furthest. So if we tip it and roll it out like that. Let's see. Put these on the other side. Out of the way a little bit. Okay, so that's about as far as we're going to be able to get it out right now. So again, now we're down to the three linkages: the throttle linkage, sync cable linkage, and the choke. So the choke is a 14 millimeter, which I don't have handy. Let's put it over here. Hold on 1 second. So, a carburetor kit, I bought the carburetor kit for this. It was like $20 for both carburetors. There's really not a lot in the carburetor kit. For the most part, we're just going to clean it all out, put a new float bowl gasket. New float bowl gasket, new needle, and a new seat. That's basically all that's in the carburetor kit. So now there's some little parts on this choke, so when you pull it out, be careful not to lose them. There's that, and then there's the other piece here. spring. I'll get that out in a minute, so I just don't have enough spot. So now the first time I did this, I took the linkage off of the sync cable linkage. I loosened it from here, and what the sync cable does is it makes it so that when you push the throttle, the choke, or not the choke, damn it, the idle circuit, it makes it so that this armature and this armature down here move it the same, so that you're doing the same thing. So the first time I did it, I undid it from here. I have since learned that it's better to just take it off right here. Then you don't have to mess with your. Okay, that's the other part of the choke, by the way. If you take it off with just that linkage, then you don't have to resync the cable, which took a little bit of time. I'll go through how to resync the cable as well. So this just is the one screw. It does have that. It pops off. It has this here, goes into that hole to hold it. So that's the pivot point. And then this is just your standard, I don't even know what that's called, but it's the kind that you line the cable up with the slot, and then it slides out. Push this down. And there it pops out. So the throttle linkage, 10mm wrench, breaks this set screw loose. Now if you want to try and keep it the same, you can see it's about 2 threads going through there, all the way through. Goes about 2 threads in. So that's roughly where we're going to set the throttle linkage when we put it back on, just so we have a good starting point. Because you loosen up the set screw there, then this is a number 8mm wrench. And it unscrews from this housing. And this basically sets the slack in your gas feed, in your throttle. Some people like it in different spots. Most people like it pretty close to as soon as they put the gas, turn the handle, it goes. So that's usually where we set it. It's pretty close to that. And the same thing here, just watch how it goes. You just roll it around until it pops, slides right out. So there it is, there's the carburetor. The carburetor's out.